You know, here at the shop we see all kinds of history walk through the door, but some of the oldest stories aren't written in books, they're stamped in metal. Let's talk about China. Long before anyone was thinking about dollars or cents, people needed a way to trade. At first, they used what they had. Cowrie shells, beautiful and hard to find, became one of the first forms of money. They were pretty, portable, and everyone agreed they had value. But as China's great kingdoms grew, they needed something more. Shells could be found on any beach, and you can't exactly run a government on seashells. They needed something better, something they could control. This is where things get really interesting. Around 1000 BC, during the Zhou dynasty, they started making money that looked like the tools people used every day. Think about it. A farmer's most valuable tool might be his spade, or a fisherman his knife. So, they started making miniature versions of these tools out of bronze. We call them spade money and knife money. It was a genius idea, really. You're taking something everyone understands has value, a tool for survival, and turning it into a symbol of that value. These weren't just lumps of metal, they were shaped like objects people trusted and used in their daily lives. These early coins were a huge step forward. For the first time, you had a standardized form of currency issued by a local authority. Each little state or region made its own version, often with a mark or character indicating where it came from. Imagine a marketplace filled with merchants, each carrying a pouch clinking with tiny bronze, knives, and spades. It was a messy system, with different shapes and weights all over the place, but it was the beginning of a monetary system. It was the first time that value wasn't just in the item itself, but in the promise that the item represented. That's the core idea of all money, and it started right here. So when you look at one of these ancient spade or knife coins, you're looking at a revolutionary idea. It's the moment China moved from simple barter to a complex economy. These weren't just for buying grain or silk, they were for paying soldiers, funding projects, and building kingdoms. It's a piece of bronze that tells a story of innovation, of how a society figured out how to grow and connect. And for a history guy like me, that's just incredible. It's the birth of an economic superpower, and it all started with a little piece of metal shaped like a garden tool. You just never know what you're gonna find. Now fast forward a few hundred years to around 221 BC. China was a patchwork of warring states, each with its own money, its own writing, its own rules. It was chaos. Then came a guy who changed everything, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. This is the man who built the Great Wall and the Terracotta Army. He was all about control and unity. He wanted one China, one set of laws, one system for everything, and that included money. He looked at all the different spade coins, knife coins, and other weird shapes, and said, no more. He knew that to control an empire, you had to control its economy. The emperor's solution was simple, but brilliant. He introduced a brand new coin for the entire empire. It was round with a square hole in the middle. This wasn't just a random design. The round shape represented heaven, and the square hole represented the earth. It was a powerful symbol of the emperor's divine authority over everything. He called it the Ban Liang coin, which means half a tael, referring to its weight. This coin replaced all other forms of currency. Suddenly, a merchant from the north could do business with a farmer in the south using the exact same money. It was a game changer. Making these coins was a massive undertaking. The government set up mints all over the empire to produce millions of them. The square hole in the middle wasn't just for philosophy, it was practical. It allowed the coins to be strung together on rods or strings, making them easier to handle, count, and transport. You could file the edges to smooth them out after casting. This design was so successful, so perfect for its purpose, that it became the standard for Chinese coins for the next 2,000 years. Think about that. A design from over 2,000 years ago was so good, it lasted until the 20th century. When we get a Ban Liang coin in the shop, it's always a special moment. This isn't just an old coin, it's a symbol of one of the most important moments in history. It represents the unification of China and the incredible power of one man's vision. It's a coin that helped build an empire, pay for the Great Wall, and lay the foundation for modern China. It tells a story of order being born from chaos, of a dozen different systems being forged into one. And that story, stamped into a simple piece of bronze, is absolutely priceless. You can't put a price tag on that kind of history. After the Qin dynasty collapsed, the Han dynasty took over, and they ruled for about 400 years. They inherited the first emperor's idea of a unified coin, but they needed to perfect it. The early Han rulers had some problems with the Banliang coins. Their weight and quality were inconsistent, and private minting was causing a lot of confusion and devaluing the currency. People were making their own lighter coins, and it was messing up the economy. If you can't trust your money, you can't trust your government. The Han emperors knew they had to fix this, and they had to fix it fast to keep their new empire stable and prosperous. So, in 118 BC, Emperor Wu of Han introduced a new coin called the Wuzhu. The name literally means 5 grains. Zhu was a unit of weight, like a gram. This was a big deal because the name itself guaranteed its weight and value. It was a promise from the emperor to his people. The Wuzhu was smaller and lighter than the Banliang, but it was much more consistent. The government took complete control of mining copper and minting coins. They closed down all the private mints and made it a crime punishable by death to make your own money. This stabilized the economy and created a level of trust that hadn't existed before. The Han Dynasty also got smart about the coin's design to stop cheaters. The Wuzhu coins were made with a raised rim around the edge, both on the outside and around the inner square hole. Why? It was to prevent a common practice called clipping, where people would shave a little metal off the edge of each coin. If you did that to enough coins, you could collect the shavings and melt them down to make new, illegal coins. With the raised rim, it was immediately obvious if a coin had been tampered with. It was a simple but very effective security feature, one of the first of its kind in the world. The Wuzhu coin was an incredible success. It became the longest-running currency in Chinese history, used for over 700 years through several dynasties. It funded the expansion of the Silk Road, turning China into an international trading powerhouse. When you hold a Wuzhu coin, you're holding a piece of that legacy. It's a coin that traveled thousands of miles, passing through the hands of merchants, soldiers, and scholars. It paid for silk, spices, and ideas that flowed between the East and West. It's not just money, it's a testament to the Han Dynasty's genius for creating stability and prosperity. That's a story worth a lot more than just its weight in bronze. The Tang Dynasty, starting around 618 AD, is often called China's Golden Age. Art, poetry, and culture flourished. It was a time of great confidence and openness to the world. And with a new Golden Age, you need new Golden Age money. The old Wuzhu coin had been around for centuries, but its quality had gone downhill. The Tang emperors wanted a coin that reflected the power and prestige of their new dynasty. They didn't just want to make a new coin, they wanted to start a new era in currency. They wanted to create something that would be remembered forever. So, in the year 621, Emperor Gaozu introduced the Kaiyuan Tongbao. The name itself was a powerful statement. It means the inaugural circulating treasure. This was a radical change. For the first time, the coin's name wasn't based on its weight, like the Banliang or Wuzhu. Instead, it was based on an idea, the idea of a new beginning. The 4 characters on the coin, Kaiyuan Tongbao, became the new standard. From this point on, most Chinese cash coins would use the phrase Tongbao, circulating treasure, Zhongbao, heavy treasure, or Yuanbao, primary treasure. The Tang Dynasty didn't just change the coin, they changed the very language of money. The calligraphy on the Kaiyuan Tongbao was also a work of art. The characters were written by a famous calligrapher named Ouyang Shun, and they were beautiful, clear, and elegant. This was a statement. The coin wasn't just a functional piece of metal, it was a reflection of the high culture of the Tang Dynasty. They even included special marks on some coins, like a crescent moon on the back, which are believed to be fingernail impressions left by the empress. These little details make the coins personal and connect us directly to the people who made them over 1,000 years ago. It's history you can feel between your fingers. The Kaiyuan Tongbao set the standard for the next 1,300 years of Chinese coinage. Its size, weight, and the Tongbao naming convention were copied for centuries. It was produced in massive quantities and circulated far and wide, reaching Japan, Vietnam, and even the coasts of Africa through the Silk Road and maritime trade routes. When you come across a Kaiyuan Tongbao, you're looking at the dollar of its day, a trusted international currency that powered the economy of a global superpower. It's a small coin that carries the weight of a golden age, a story of art, power, and influence that defined China for a millennium. After the Tang Dynasty, we get to the Song Dynasty, which ruled from about 960 to 1279 AD. If the Tang Dynasty was about creating a perfect standard coin, the Song Dynasty was about variety and innovation. The economy was booming, trade was expanding, and the population was growing. The government needed more money, and they needed it in different forms. This led to an explosion in the number of coin types. We're talking about a period where they were producing more coins than ever before in Chinese history. It was an era of incredible monetary experimentation, and for collectors, it's a fascinating and complex field. One of the most interesting things about Song coins is how they were marked. To keep track of everything, the emperors started putting different reign titles on the coins. A single emperor might issue several different coin types during his rule to mark a new era or a special event. Plus, the calligraphy was constantly changing. They used different styles of writing, like standard script, seal script, and cursive script, sometimes all for the same coin denomination. It was a way for the emperor to show off his cultural sophistication. For collectors today, trying to gather all the different script styles for a single reign period is a huge and rewarding challenge. The Song dynasty also had a problem. They were running out of copper. The demand for coins was so high that they just couldn't mine enough copper to keep up, so they got creative. In some parts of the empire, especially in the north and west where copper was scarce, they started making coins out of iron. These iron coins were worth less than bronze ones, and you needed a lot more of them to buy things. This created complicated exchange rates between different regions. Imagine needing a wheelbarrow full of iron coins just to buy a bag of rice. It was a logistical nightmare, but it was a clever solution to a serious resource shortage. But the biggest innovation of the Song dynasty wasn't a coin at all, it was paper money. To deal with the heavy iron coins and the overall shortage of metal, the government started issuing the world's first government-backed paper currency, called jiaozi. At first, it was just a temporary note from merchants, but the government soon took over the system. This was a revolutionary idea, a piece of paper that was worth a certain number of coins. It was a huge leap of faith, trusting that a piece of paper had value because the government said so. The Song dynasty was a true laboratory for money, and the coins and notes they left behind tell an incredible story of economic genius. When the Mongols, led by Kublai Khan, conquered China and established the Yuan dynasty in 1279, they brought some big changes. The Mongols were big fans of the paper money system they inherited from the Song. In fact, they loved it so much that they tried to make it the only currency. They printed huge amounts of paper money called chow and discouraged the use of coins. Marco Polo, the famous Venetian explorer who visited China during this time, was absolutely blown away. He had never seen anything like it. In Europe, wealth was gold and silver. In Yuan China, wealth was a piece of paper made from mulberry bark. However, the Mongols made a classic mistake. They didn't fully understand the concept of inflation. They just kept printing more and more paper money to pay for their wars and lavish lifestyles without having enough goods or metal reserves to back it up. Predictably, the value of the paper money plummeted. People lost faith in it completely. You might need a whole stack of bills just to buy a bowl of noodles. This economic chaos was one of the major reasons the Yuan dynasty eventually collapsed. They minted very few coins, and the ones they did produce are now quite rare, especially those with inscriptions in the Mongol Fag's Pa script. After the Yuan dynasty fell, the Ming dynasty was founded in 1368. The first Ming emperor, Hongwu, was deeply suspicious of paper money after seeing how it destroyed the Yuan economy. He wanted to go back to basics. He ordered a return to a coin-based economy and started minting the Hongwu Tongbao. These coins were heavy, well-made, and meant to restore public confidence in the currency. He also reopened the silver mines, and silver, cast into syces or ingots, became a major part of the economy for large transactions. Coins were for everyday use, and silver was for taxes and big business deals. But the story of paper money wasn't over. Later Ming emperors tried to bring it back, but they ran into the same problems with inflation. For most of the Ming dynasty, the economy ran on a dual system of copper coins for small purchases and silver for large ones. This period also saw a huge influx of foreign silver, especially from Spanish America, brought in by European traders. This flood of new silver had a massive impact on the Chinese economy. The Ming era is a fascinating story of a government wrestling with the legacy of paper money and trying to find a stable monetary system in a newly globalized world. The Qing dynasty, founded by the Manchus in 1644, was the last imperial dynasty in China. For their coins, they followed the model that had worked for centuries, the round coin with a square hole. The front of the coin had the emperor's reign title in Chinese characters, just like the Ming coins. But the Qing rulers added something new. On the back, they added the name of the mint where the coin was made, written in the Manchu script. This was a clear political statement. It showed that the Manchus were now in charge, but they were also respecting Chinese tradition. It was a coin that represented both continuity and change. For the first couple of hundred years, the Qing coin system was pretty stable. They made billions of these cash coins, and they were the lifeblood of the economy for ordinary people. But in the 19th century, things started to fall apart. The Qing government was weakened by internal rebellions, like the Taiping Rebellion, and conflicts with Western powers, like the Opium Wars. The economy was in turmoil, and it showed in the coins. The quality dropped, and the government started issuing high-denomination coins, worth 10, 50, or even 100 cash, to pay for its massive military expenses. This caused rampant inflation and hardship for the people. The biggest change came at the very end of the dynasty. China saw that the rest of the world was using modern, machine-struck coins made of silver and copper, not old-fashioned cast coins. To modernize and compete on the world stage, they started building modern mints with steam-powered presses imported from Europe and America. This was a monumental shift. For the first time in over 2,000 years, they abandoned the round coin with the square hole. Instead, they began striking silver dollars, often featuring a dragon on one side, and round copper coins with no hole. These are known as dragon dollars and are hugely popular with collectors. These late Qing coins tell the story of an empire trying desperately to save itself. They represent the clash between ancient tradition and the pressures of the modern world. In 1912, the last emperor abdicated, and the Republic of China was born, ending thousands of years of imperial rule. The coins of the Qing dynasty are the final chapter in the long, epic story of Chinese imperial currency. They range from the traditional cash coins of a powerful empire to the modern-style silver dollars of a dynasty on the brink of collapse. Each one is a little piece of that dramatic transition. When you hold one, you're holding the end of an era. Every collector dreams of finding that one holy grail item. In the world of Chinese coins, there are some pieces that are so rare, they're the stuff of legend. These aren't just valuable because they're old, they're valuable because of their story, their scarcity, and their unique place in history. When one of these comes up for auction, the numbers can be staggering. We're talking hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars. These are the coins that museums build entire exhibits around, and collectors spend a lifetime searching for. They are the true treasures of Chinese numismatics, and each one has a story to tell. Let's start with a coin from the Qing dynasty, but one that was never meant to be. It's the 1910 silver dragon dollar pattern, but with a reversed S. A pattern coin is like a prototype, a design that's proposed but not always approved for circulation. This particular one was designed by the famous Italian engraver, Luigi Giorgi. A few samples were struck, but on one of them, the S in the denomination cents was accidentally engraved backward. This tiny error makes the coin incredibly rare. It's a glimpse into the minting process and a reminder that even the most skilled artisans can make mistakes. Finding one is like finding a needle in a haystack. Another incredible rarity comes from the very beginning of the Republic of China. After the fall of the Qing dynasty, the new government wanted to issue coins with the image of their leaders. One of the proposed designs for a 1912 silver dollar featured the new president, Sun Yat-sen. However, for political reasons, this design was quickly replaced with another one. Only a handful of the Sun Yat-sen trial coins were ever made. They represent a fleeting moment in time, a political what-if captured in silver. Owning one is like owning a piece of the revolution itself, a symbol of a new government trying to find its footing. But it's not just about silver dollars. Some of the rarest ancient coins are valuable because of their unique inscriptions or origins. Take, for example, certain spade and knife coins from the Zhou dynasty. Some were issued by tiny, short-lived states, and only a few examples have ever been found. Or consider a Daquan Wushi coin from the brief Qin dynasty of Wang Meng, an emperor who tried radical economic reforms. Some of his experimental coins were made in very small numbers and are now fantastically rare. These coins are direct links to obscure corners of history, telling stories that would otherwise be lost. They're not just money. They're historical documents made of metal. So, why do so many collectors here in America get so excited about these Chinese coins? It's not just about the money or the investment potential, though that's certainly part of it. For most of us, it's about the history. China has one of the longest continuous histories of any civilization on Earth, and their coins are a tangible link to that past. When you hold a 2,000-year-old Han Dynasty coin, you're holding something that was used on the Silk Road. When you hold a Tang Dynasty coin, you're holding a piece of a golden age. It's like having a time machine in the palm of your hand. There's also the sheer variety. The journey of Chinese coinage is just incredible. It goes from seashell money to spade-shaped coins, to the classic round coin with a square hole that lasted for 2 millennia, and finally to modern machine-struck silver dollars. The artwork, the calligraphy, and the stories behind each change are endlessly fascinating. You can spend a lifetime studying just one dynasty and still not learn everything there is to know. For a collector, that's the ultimate challenge. It's a field with so much depth and so many stories to uncover. You're not just collecting coins, you're piecing together a giant historical puzzle. For American collectors, there's also a sense of discovery. For a long time, the focus here was on American or European coins. Chinese coins were seen as exotic and mysterious. But now, with more information available and more of these coins coming onto the market, people are realizing what they've been missing. It's like discovering a whole new world of collecting. It's a chance to learn about a different culture, a different history, and a different way of looking at the world. It connects us to a story that's much bigger than our own, and that's a powerful thing. Ultimately, collecting Chinese coins is about appreciating the story of human ingenuity. It's the story of how a civilization solved a fundamental problem, how to create value and trust. From the practical design of the square hole, to the anti-counterfeiting rims, to the world's first paper money, it's a story of constant innovation. Each coin is a miniature masterpiece of art, technology, and politics. It's a story that spans empires, connects cultures, and continues to fascinate us today. And that, to me, is what makes these little pieces of metal truly priceless. You never know what story is going to walk